Welcome to the Biz Buying Lab. We're here with Delia today to talk about the first business that she ever purchased and some takeaways that she can share with us that happened because of that decision. So, what was the first thing that you ever bought, the first business?
Yeah, the first business I bought was a private label brand that was selling a giftable item on Amazon. For those who are not familiar with Amazon, there are different ways you can buy products. You can make your own products, put your brand on it, and a lot of people call it white label, private label. I was selling on Amazon, so it makes sense for me to buy another brand and increase our revenue on Amazon. So I had the skills, so I figured, how can I use these skills to maybe grow another business or add revenue? The idea was pretty good, and it's a good way of looking at a business. I didn't pay a lot for this brand. It wasn't like worth a ton of money, um, because the owner who had it, who launched it and grew it to about six figures in revenue per year, was doing the labor at home, and he realized there's a lot of labor involved. So he realized it's not easy to sell, but he wanted to get rid of all the inventory, all the equipment that he was using to package the items. The item was two bottles, one of olive oil, one of balsamic vinegar, I think. And they were nice bottles. Supplier in California. I live in California. The supplier was about an hour and a half or 2 hours away. It makes sense. Like, well, we have some space. We can probably do it. And do I regret buying it? Probably not, but not sure I would use the same approach.
Okay, how did you first find or hear about it? Like,
Yeah,
just
that's a good question. A friend recommended it. So there was this
oh,
guy who heard that the seller wants to sell, and those tend to be the best deals because usually the seller is open to negotiations and you can get a better price. And that's how I found about it. I asked a friend if he wants to be involved. So we put half and half the money for the brand. Again, it was low five figures. We put the money down. The seller dropped off all the inventory, the equipment at my friend's house, and we were in business. But I made so many mistakes with that deal. Like it's actually pretty funny thinking back.
what were some of the biggest takeaways that you maybe wouldn't do next time or know to look and ask before you would do that again?
Yeah, when the owner is involved and they do the labor and they tell you it's labor intensive, take it seriously. I was really busy and I didn't realize how much extra work we would have to put into just getting these items to Amazon FBA. And Amazon FBA fulfilled the orders once someone bought. But there are always, right, small challenges you can expect in a business. In this business, it was a lot more labor than I realized. And I was so busy with other projects, I didn't actually have time to invest in it properly. To Within 6 months of us buying it, the supplier stopped selling those items. So technically, we had to find a new supplier. I just dropped the brand instead of looking for a new supplier. Now, looking back, I'm thinking maybe I should have continued, but it would require, right, another big investment in, because when you buy product, you have to buy in big quantities to get a good value per bottle. And I ended up just dropping it. We made our money back, but I don't think it was worth it given the amount of labor and extra stress. So I didn't really think it through very well.
Yeah, but it sounds like a great learning experience for next time, or maybe
Yes.
what not to next time. So,
Yeah, the biggest mistake I made with that business, it wasn't even, right, not thinking it through. It was not asking the right questions. When you buy a business and the seller's open to sell, you have the right to ask questions, even direct questions, no matter whether they get offended or not. Just ask the hard questions. I was, I think, too nice, didn't ask the right questions. The seller was supposed to send me all some information about the designer who had access to the files. He didn't actually give me the files, so that was a pain. Just getting access to everything. I should have asked, I need all of these things the moment you show up at my house and I pay you. I didn't, and that created extra issues. So ask the hard questions, try to uncover what expectations you have from the business, from the team. Um, but then, yeah, also ask the right questions and get everything you need. If you're paying for the business, all the assets belong to you. If you're buying all the assets, usually they do come, all the assets come with the business, whether that's a website access or files, logo files, anything that's related to the business. With a private label brand, right? The product that was listed on Amazon, you had tons of images that they created over time. Nowadays, there are videos that people make as well. So there are quite a few assets related to the product that you need to have access to or have a process in place that within X amount of days, I'm going to get it and maybe even hold money back. That's why people usually put money in escrow when they buy a business and they need to get all the assets before the money gets released. So that's something I made a huge mistake. It was introduced by a friend, so I felt a bit uncomfortable to ask some hard questions, which is really dumb. You are paying for it. He wants to or she wants to sell. Just do it, you know. You're gonna regret it later if you don't ask the hard questions. So why not?
No, that's some great wisdom there. I have to ask though, when I think of balsamic and oil, were they in glass containers or plastic containers? And was there any fear of that breaking, or did they break, or just shipping to Amazon, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that was certainly a concern when I bought the business, but the owner has really thought through the whole process, and they had this special machine that takes paper and cuts it in such a way that you can put it around the bottle and it protects the bottle, and we rarely had any issues. So there are solutions for any problem. He figured it out. So he did put some thought into it. And now thinking back, right, I still have that equipment and I'll probably need to sell it. It's worth several $1,000s. That whole machine that helps you package everything. I can probably sell that and make a few $1,000s off of it. So I still have some value that I haven't pulled from that business. But that's the beauty of buying something. Someone else figure out solutions to the problems. And I did ask that question. That was one of the questions I did ask. And he explained how he went through a few different iterations and how he got to the last variation, which is really cool. When you buy a business, you gain so much wisdom from just asking the question of how did you solve this problem, that problem. You can take that knowledge and apply it to other businesses, other things. So there's always a lot of learning that you make in just through the process of having conversations with brokers or business sellers. You gain a lot of information that will then allow you to ask better questions on business number two or three, or if you haven't bought a business, just in evaluating the businesses. So that's why I always say, if you're interested in buying a business, evaluate several businesses at the same time. In talking to people, you uncover a lot of insights, and then you can use those insights to go back to the broker or the seller and ask follow-up questions. So you do learn a lot, and it's really neat to see how, yeah, the owners figure out solutions, and you get to just inherit them, which is pretty cool. That's why I'm like a big believer of buying businesses.
Yeah, that's just a great reminder that there are solutions. We instantly think, oh, I can't do that. But even just collaborating or buying or talking to other people, that there often is a way to come up with a solution. So
Mhm.
thanks so much for sharing the tips and things that you've learned. We appreciate that. So hit subscribe if you're looking for more tips and buying your first business. And we'll see you on our next episode.